this victory, which has come as a shock to many. But for those of us who have been focused on the mass immigration and the mass migration tactics of the left over the last 15 to 20 years, it doesn't come as a shock at all. If you look at New York City and the New York City metro area's demographic shift, the skyrocketing numbers of South Asians, Middle Easterners, now representing over 1 million in this area. It doesn't come as a shock at all that the recent immigrants are voting for one of their own, that there are progressive college-educated liberals who are joining them, and Gen Z who are totally going on board with this as well. And what you do see are ethnic whites, working class whites, as well as Hispanics and blacks voting against Mamdani. And Libby, I think a lot of this is being driven by a lot of it, of course, is immigration. It can't be talked about the effect of immigration on all of our politics nationwide. But what we're also seeing here is that it's a class shift that's playing out. Isn't that right?
Yes, that's 100% true. I lived in Bay Ridge for about 10 years, which is a section of Brooklyn that is historically an immigrant community. It was Norwegian, it was Greek, it was Italian, it was Chinese. Now it's primarily Arab. And the biggest difference, I think, between previous groups of immigrants and the current groups of immigrants is that the previous groups of immigrants were interested in assimilating. When my great-grandparents came here from Naples and from Sicily and also from Norway, they were interested in becoming American. You could not say a word against America to them and have them be quiet about it. There was absolutely no way. My great-grandmother taught herself to read by reading the New York Times in the 1920s, not by watching TikTok and hearing about how Osama bin Laden is the greatest guy ever. I mean, it's just a totally different kind of cultural immersion that they're getting now. People are coming to this country and they're hearing that America sucks, and that has got to stop. That's absolutely insane. When you had immigration during the height of Ellis Island, you had, I think, 12 million people over 60 years come in. That's 200,000 people a year, and that's legal immigration. Under Joe Biden, we had 200,000 illegal immigrants coming in every month. And what you have here is a situation where the wealthy people in New York City, the laptop class, the people who get delivery, the people who can afford to take taxis, primarily Asians and whites, they were voting for Mamdani. When you had essentially blacks and Hispanics and people who had been in the city for a long time and are working class people saying, no, please don't make the city worse. And what everyone forgets is that once you start voting in communist policies, you can't vote them out. Look at a lot of the communist policies that came into the US, like the ACA, for example. There's no way to get Obamacare out at this point, despite how poorly it has really done, or the welfare state, or any of these things. And you look at Mamdani, and he is one of these laptop class people. He went to a liberal arts college, went to Bowdoin. His dad teaches anti-colonialism at Columbia University. He absolutely is not representative of the people of New York. He's representative of luxury values that have absolutely no place in reality. And the things that he wants to do to the city, he plans to do, as you said before, free buses, free child care, city-run grocery stores. He wants to replace the subway patrols with community policing. He wants all this healthcare stuff for illegal immigrants. And he also wants to take over vacant commercial spaces and turn them into health clinics. And he is opposed to the Trump administration entirely. He wants to create a legal fund a la California and Gavin Newsom to fight Trump, to fight ICE and all of this other stuff. And how's he planning to do it? He wants to take a page from Joe Biden's book and tax the 1%. He wants to tax the millionaires and the corporations that are making, lots of money. But the only problem is, as I looked up this morning, there are 345,000 millionaires in the city of New York. Now, that may seem like a lot of people, but you have to remember that the population is something like 8.5. And you also have to remember that during COVID, 400,000 people, I think, left New York City. Does he really think that 345,000 people aren't capable of picking up, taking their money bags and getting out? And then what happens? The whole thing collapses.
It is complete and utter destruction of one of the greatest cities, probably the greatest city in American history. Sean, let me ask you, having obviously written about these issues for a long time, does the New York City mayoral primary actually surprise you?
It does surprise me. It disappoints me a lot. I was having a conversation with a colleague this morning, And, there's a little bit of debate on the right, should we be cheering what appears to be the impending demise of New York City with this candidate coming in, or should we be lamenting it? And I'm kind of both minds on it. A part of it is when you see these leftist policies and these leftist voters, you kind of want to tell them, you've sown and now you're going to reap, and you can kind of pat yourself on the back and get a certain amount of satisfaction about that. But like you said in the earlier segment, New York City is the crown jewel of America. It's the symbol of the American empire. It's the greatest city that America ever created. And to see it go in this direction, nations follow the trajectory of their great cities. So when you see what's happened to Detroit, what's happened to Chicago, what's happened to New Orleans, what happened to Philly and Baltimore, and then you see it now happening to New York, I think it is a moment for like sadness and grief. I don't think it's good, and I hope the people of New York understand this. And maybe it's going to take some really bad government happening and even more chaos and crime for them to realize. But I lament the loss of New York City. I want it to be saved. I want it to be a great city once again, because you can't be a great country without great cities.